I had just moved onto my dream desert ranch after retiring from a long career service. The property was exactly what I wanted: peaceful, private, and completely mine. I spent months restoring the land and preparing it for my new life. Little did I know, my new neighbors had very different plans for it. Just 3 days after moving in, I noticed HOA representatives surveying my property lines. They confidently informed me that my land belonged to their community expansion plans. Apparently, they had already decided where my future driveway would connect. The problem was, they forgot to ask the actual owner. The HOA president handed me a welcome package containing community rules and mandatory fees. She seemed surprised when I informed her that I wasn't a member of their association, according to their records. However, my ranch was already included. That was the moment I realized something wasn't right. I immediately reviewed my property deed and county land records. Everything clearly showed that my ranch had always been privately owned. There had never been any legal connection to the HOA whatsoever. Their claims simply didn't match reality. The HOA refused to accept the truth and continued demanding access to my property. They claimed construction crews would arrive within the week. Apparently, my land had already been included in their future development plans. Their confidence was both impressive and completely misplaced. To make matters worse, HOA patrol vehicles began appearing near my ranch entrance. They insisted they had the authority to inspect my property. I politely informed them that private property laws still applied in Arizona. They didn't seem happy about hearing that. I hired a professional land survey company to verify every boundary marker. Their findings perfectly matched my legal documents. The HOA wasn't even close to owning my property. In fact, they had expanded their own maps beyond their legal boundaries. When I presented the survey results, the HOA president accused me of hiding information. She insisted that the community had historical rights to the surrounding land. Unfortunately for her, historical rumors aren't recognized by county records. Legal ownership is. Several homeowners were shocked to learn that the HOA had never verified the property's ownership. Many had already been told that my ranch would become a future recreational area. The entire community had been misinformed. Questions quickly began spreading throughout the neighborhood. That's when I realized this wasn't just about my property anymore. The HOA had built future development plans based on incorrect information. Their mistake was becoming increasingly expensive, and the real legal battle was just beginning. The HOA president announced that construction crews will begin marking portions of my land. She claimed their community master plan had already been approved years ago. Unfortunately for them, no master plan can override a private property deed. They were about to learn that lesson the hard way. Early the next morning, I found temporary survey stakes placed near my property's entrance. Someone had marked areas for future HOA expansion without my permission. I immediately documented everything with photographs and videos. Evidence would become my greatest ally. My attorney advised me to request every development document from the county recorder's office. What we discovered shocked even him. The HOA had submitted preliminary concepts that included land they never owned. Their mistake was now officially documented. Several homeowners began questioning why the HOA had promised them future amenities on private property. Some residents had paid premium prices believing my ranch would become a community park. The truth was finally coming to light. Trust within the community was quickly disappearing. During our second meeting, the HOA president demanded that I cooperate for the good of the neighborhood. She claimed sacrificing part of my ranch would benefit everyone involved. I politely reminded her that generosity is voluntary, not mandatory. My answer remained unchanged. The county land survey report officially confirmed every one of my property's legal boundaries. Not a single square foot belonged to the HOA. Their claims were based entirely on assumptions and inaccurate maps. Facts had finally entered the conversation. As public records became available, residents learned that my ranch had existed long before the HOA community was developed. My property wasn't accidentally included in their plans. Someone simply failed to verify ownership before making promises. That oversight was becoming increasingly difficult to explain. The HOA quietly postponed several community development projects while reviewing their legal position. Their ambitious expansion plans were beginning to collapse. Reality had proven far less convenient than their assumptions. My ranch wasn't going anywhere. One longtime resident apologized for believing the HOA's version of events. He admitted many homeowners were never shown accurate property maps. Transparency could have prevented this entire situation. Honesty matters in every community. My attorney filed formal notices protecting my property's legal boundaries. Every document clearly stated that unauthorized use of private land would not be permitted. The message was professional, simple, and impossible to misunderstand. The legal lines had been drawn. Weeks later, the HOA's own legal team recommended withdrawing their claims entirely. Continuing the dispute would only create unnecessary expenses and public criticism. There was simply no legal basis supporting their position. The outcome had become unavoidable. Construction plans involving my property quietly disappeared from HOA presentations. Residents immediately noticed the changes. Questions regarding leadership decisions continued growing. Accountability had finally arrived. I spent the following weekend repairing fences and enjoying the peace of my desert ranch. The property looked exactly as I imagined when I purchased it. Private ownership deserves respect regardless of who lives next door. That principle never changes. The HOA eventually issued a formal statement acknowledging the property's legal ownership. Their land claim was officially over. Facts had won where assumptions failed. The truth required nothing more than proper documentation. Several residents later thanked me for standing up for property rights. They realized that if it could happen to my ranch, it could happen to anyone. Communities function best when boundaries are respected. Everyone learns something valuable from the experience. Looking back, I realized moving to Arizona was still the right decision. The legal dispute was temporary, but my appreciation for the land remains permanent. Some battles are worth fighting when principles are involved. This was certainly one of them. The HOA community moved forward with more realistic development plans. Lessons learned from the dispute improved communication throughout the neighborhood. Respect replaced assumptions. That's how communities should grow. My ranch became known locally as a property that stopped an entire expansion project. Visitors often admired the incredible desert scenery and legal history behind it. What began as a conflict ultimately became a lesson in responsibility. Knowledge proved more powerful than pressure. Every morning, I enjoy my coffee while watching the sunrise over my land. Knowing that my property remains exactly as intended brings peace of mind. Ownership is more than a piece of paper. It's a responsibility worth protecting. Today, my ranch remains private, peaceful, and entirely my own. The HOA learned that property rights aren't negotiable simply because land is desirable. They picked the wrong fight when they challenged the wrong landowner. And that's a lesson they won't soon forget.